I can't believe Christmas is almost here, Jingles. It seems like it was just Halloween. Thanksgiving has come and gone. Now Christmas is only days away. What happened to the year? I mean, it feels like we just started school again after summer vacation. Now, not only Christmas, but New Year's Eve is within sight. I just can't believe how fast time has gone, Jingles. Even so, the next few days feel like they will take forever to live through.
Indeed, the year has passed us by, Lazar. We barely even knew 2015, and here we are, about to welcome the birth of a brand new year. So much has happened over the last 12 months. I really can't believe that all of it happened within only a year's time. We had to deal with Fletcher, the bully. We traveled in time to the past and found a lost television show. We even got to go for a ride on the Enterprise. I still can't believe you actually know Captain Kirk. That was very fortunate for Bunsen. Why, if you hadn't known Captain Kirk, Bunsen would now be the god of the sea people. That was a blessing on them, that they got rid of him. Bunsen may be family, so it's not right to speak ill of him, especially at Christmas, but he has some weird ideas about himself and the world in general. Anyway, I hope that 2016 will prove to be less adventurous than the last 12 months have been.
And that starts with Christmas, Jingles. Just think, in a few days, we'll wake up and see many, many presents under this tree. There'll be cookies and candy all around. There'll be a house full of people, friends and relatives visiting, bringing even more presents with them. The sights, the smells, the sounds. Christmas is the most wonderful time of the year, Jingles. I just can't think of any holiday that brings with it the same joy and happiness that Christmas does. Life somehow just seems better, happier. What's the matter, Jingles? Why do you look so down? This is a wonderful time of year. You shouldn't be sad, Jingles. There's nothing to be sad about. In just a few days, you'll have lots of presents to open. You'll be able to stuff yourself silly on many different kinds of food. You should be filled with the spirit of the season.
I am happy, Lazar. All those things you mentioned, I enjoy them too. I agree there's no other day like Christmas. It's just that, well, I can't help but thinking of those out there who can't celebrate Christmas as we do.
What do you mean, Jingles? Why wouldn't someone be able to celebrate Christmas? What would stop them from giving and receiving presents? What would stop them from having a fabulous Christmas dinner with all their friends and family? Why wouldn't someone be able to have these things, Jingles?
The answer to that may not be the most pleasant to consider, my friend. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring this up, or to ruin the joyous mood that you are in. We don't need to speak of these things if it will ruin the season for you.
Nonsense, Jingles. I really would like to know why someone couldn't celebrate Christmas.
It's not that they can't celebrate Christmas, Lazar. It's that they can't celebrate as you and I are accustomed to remembering the birth of Christ. We all can remember what the day is really about, and pay respects to He whose birthday it is. But there are those out there, there are many out there, who, through no fault of their own, are left without means of buying even a single present because they are too poor. There are those out there who, again through no fault of their own, have no family or friends. They've been outcast from society for any number of reasons. They may be able to give a gift to someone, but for whatever reason, they have nobody to give a gift to. They wake up this day and find that the only thing that is in their stocking is their foot.
Jingles, are there really people like this out there? People without a friend in the world? People without money who can't give presents? They are really out there?
Indeed, they are out there, Lazar. Mothers who cannot buy a present for their child. Children, unloved, uncared for, who roam the streets alone. No father or mother to take care of them. Adults alone, mentally ill and unable to associate with others in any manner we acknowledge as normal. It is of these people I think right now. I see this tree and know that in a few days there will be presents under it. In a few days, many fabulous odors will fill this very room. The sounds of laughter and children playing will echo out the walls. I remember all this from years past. I know it will be that way again. Yet I cannot help but think of those less fortunate, whom have none of these wonderful things we have every Christmas.
Jingles, I don't know what to say. How can this happen? How did society, how did the older generation let this happen? Why can't everyone have a beautiful Christmas experience?
Because of man's inability to love those around him he does not know. Because there are so many out there concerned only for their own life and social circle. Those outside their world are invisible to them. Things like poverty, loneliness, and despair are things so unpleasant that anyone who reminds the world's population that they exist must be cast down, put out of sight, exorcised from the conscious thought of the collective psyche of the masses. Lazar, look towards the view screen. There's something about to start, and I think it will give you an in-depth understanding of what I speak. Look once more to the view screen, my friend, and see the Christmas of one forgotten.
Once upon a time, in a far-off country, there lived a little orphan girl who sold matches. It was Christmas Eve, and everyone was much too busy to pay any attention to her. All the other children had warm clothes to wear, warm homes to live in, and fine Christmas dinners waiting on their tables. But the poor little match girl had none of these. If she didn't sell her matches, she wouldn't even have enough money for a bite of food or for the simplest shelter on this bitter cold night. Inside the big houses, there were Christmas stockings just waiting to be filled by Santa Claus. But what would Santa have for a poor little match girl? For her, a Christmas present was only something to dream about. If only she could get warm, that would be enough of a gift. She lit one of her precious matches. It gave off a pleasant warmth. But somehow, the light seemed strange. Was she just imagining? Or was it really? Yes, it really was Santa Claus. Santa nodded to her and said, "Come, I have something for you." Oh, how lovely! A warm fur cloak, her very first Christmas present. But that was only the beginning, for now Santa led her into his magic kingdom, where there were sights that no other child had ever seen. It was very mysterious there. The Iceman was so solemn, but somehow, even in this cold land, she felt warm. Santa made some funny motions and, presto, instead of his plain sack, there was a beautiful throne. And as she sat down, the little match girl felt as proud as a princess. So many surprises, she thought. I wonder what's going to happen next. Just then, Santa started banging on his little kettle. "Let's have some entertainment," he cried. Perhaps it was all only a dream, but such a lovely dream. Now that the dance was over, a very strange thing happened. Everyone began to disappear. It was most peculiar. But at least Santa was still here. Then the cloak slipped from her shoulders. Although the little match girl didn't realize it, her match had gone out. All that remained now was the cold snow and the memory of Santa and her first Christmas present. Quickly, she lit another match. Perhaps she would see something wonderful again. Slowly, as if from a great distance, a Christmas tree appeared, bigger and more beautifully decorated than any she had ever seen. Underneath the tree were the loveliest dolls, just like those she had seen in the windows of the most expensive toy shop. Oh, how she had wanted just one for her very own. When she looked up at the tree again, a lady appeared. A lady who looked like her lost mother. Was it really she, so gentle, so radiant? Truly, her match must be magic, for now it made the candles sparkle, and beneath its glittering light, lo and behold, the toys came to life. What a gay dance it had been, but now it was all over. Slowly, the dolls and the beautiful lady began to fade away. Again, all that remained of a dream was a burned-out match. "Please come back," she cried. "Please don't vanish like Santa Claus in the beautiful Christmas tree."
leave me. Mother.
She had found her mother again. And now the little match girl would be warm and happy forever.
Jingles, the ending to the film. I'm not sure I understand it. It seems like that little girl, when she found her mother, was she...
The little girl found her because they both had passed on.
That is horrible, Jingles. How on earth could something like that happen? I mean, those boys were so cruel to her. How could such cruelty exist? Especially on Christmas Day. How could anyone, anywhere, at any time have such hate in their hearts? Let her...
As I've stated, it's because of man's inability to love that which is not within his life. How much would it have taken to have shown pity on the little match girl? Simply the act of purchasing her matches so she could go somewhere warm. Yet not one soul would even do that little act of kindness. It's the callous nature of man that allows these things to happen. The story you have just seen need not play out, year after year, century after century. All it takes to change the fate of the little girl is kindness.
What about the future, Jingles? Will it always be like this? A fate where the poor suffer, even during Christmas? Is there nothing that can be done to make things different?
Of course. There is always a way to make the world a better place. It just takes one person to notice the suffering around them and try to make a difference.
How can one person make a difference, Jingles? What can one person do against such suffering as we've just witnessed?
Look to the view screen, Lazar. The cartoon that is about to start may be fictitious and may use fantasy to demonstrate my point. But within that fantasy lay truth. Look for that truth, and you'll learn just how easy it can be to turn tragedy into triumph. Look, Lazar, and learn.
Santa Claus.
They're making toys
toys for little girls and boys in the shanty where Santa Claus lives. They're taking tears and turning them to joys in the shanty where Santa Claus lives.
Oh, boy, I'd like to go with you.
You've been so good, you'll see that wish come true.
Perhaps there'll be a bunch of toys for me
in the shanty where Santa Claus lives.
Come on, let's go.
Ready? Yeah.
Sunny boy. We are the toys for little girls and boys in the shanty where Santa Claus lives. We're taking gifts and turning them to joys in the shanty where Santa Claus lives. We give the world just like we used to do. You make a wish and have that wish come true. Perhaps there'll be a sweetheart there for me in the shanty where Santa Claus lives. Hello, everybody. Shine on, harvest moon up in the sky.
I am this moon.
Oh, shine on, harvest moon.
You see, Lazar, Santa saw someone suffering and took it upon himself to help one in desperate need. Of course, we cannot expect Santa to come down from the North Pole and end all the suffering of all the people on the planet. Nothing is ever that easy. Imagine for a minute. Picture that you, I, our parents, our friends, our family, all of us, and all the people of the world, Imagine if we were all Santa, each of us, who is well off. If we see someone spending Christmas alone, or freezing because they haven't money to buy proper clothes, or starving because they have nothing to eat, if each of us played Santa, and offered what we could to those around us less fortunate, the world would not have instances, as we saw with the little match girl.
That's all it would take? The end of poverty is that simple, Jingles?
Well, not the end of poverty. That would take much more than a sandwich or a blanket, my friend. Yet a means of warmth and a meal on Christmas Day would be a pretty nice start in an effort to bring joy to the joyless, hope to the hopeless. Wouldn't you say so, Lazar?
Yeah, it would, Jingles. But what about every other day of the year? Christmas is just one day. What about the other 364?
We cannot worry about the next step when we haven't even taken the first. One person at a time, one event at a time, then one town at a time. Eventually, one state would find the answer to ending misery, solitude, and hopelessness. Once one state has the answer, it can be shared with the rest of the world. But we must take that first step if we're ever to reach that grand goal.
It sounds so simple, Jingles, yet so complex. But if all it will take is a blanket and some food to get the process started, then I'm willing to do my part. We have tons of extra blankets here. We also have tons of food in the kitchen. I'm going to ask my mom if we might take them to those living on the bad side of town on Christmas Day, and give those people the things we don't really need or have too much of. I know my mom wouldn't want to give up any of our new things. It can't hurt to ask her.
No, it can't, my friend. No, it can't. Just remember, this is a problem that has plagued mankind for thousands of years. Don't expect to be able to solve such a complex issue on your own. But the course of action you've laid out, if repeated by others, will make our town a little happier come Christmas Day. It's a start. Whatever comes next, we'll handle at the appropriate time. For now, let's just see what goodwill we can create on a day that was created for the purpose of giving. After all, God's Son gave his life for us, Lazar. The least we can do is honor that sacrifice by giving of ourselves to those who have little, or nothing at all. Because when we get right down to it, the only things we truly have are the things we carry in our hearts. When we hand out those blankets and sandwiches Christmas Day, we may be giving, but will also receive the best Christmas present we could get. The feeling in our heart that we made a difference for someone. A difference that may mean life or death on a cold Christmas night.
Once again I can feel the excitement and anticipation of Christmas. Not just because of what I'm going to get this time, but because of what I'm going to give. As wonderful as I felt earlier, I feel doubly excited now. Thanks go to you, my friend, for reminding me what Christmas really is about. The gathering, the food, the gifts, all that stuff is really great. But now, and for the rest of my life, Christmas will be about giving as well as receiving.
Now it's my turn to say, well said, my friend. This will be the best Christmas we've ever had. Now I can't wait for it to arrive. The next few days will pass so slowly, but on the bright side, that time can be used for going through our things and seeing what we can do without. For everything that happens, there is not only purpose, but a means of making the most of it. Before we start, though, how about we have some of that eggnog in the kitchen? Your mom just made it, and it should be done by now. I can think of no better way to start our holiday adventure than by having a big glass of eggnog with my best friend in the whole world.